Hi, I'm Mitchell Ringos. Welcome to Word for Word, where we offer you an in-depth look at some of our interviews with newsmakers from across the Northwest. Gillies Township Council was feeling the heat as a public meeting was held to discuss a controversial 26% tax levy hike for the community of 440 residents. 2 security guards stood at each end of council and a police cruiser was stationed in the parking lot as the Reeve was expecting the meeting to be contentious.
Yeah, so it was quite the heated night here at the council meeting. Could you comment on what it was like to be up there?
There were a lot of good questions, but at the same time, there were a lot of questions that we can't answer and that are repetitive that we don't have answers necessarily for. But I'm glad that lots of people came out to be able to have a chance to ask the questions they had in mind about such a large tax increase. Actually, there was more people here tonight than voted in the municipal election last time. So, what does that say?
Yeah, and I certainly heard a good few repetitive questions. That said, I heard some pretty good ones and some interesting points too. I heard somebody speaking about a desire for more public consultation in the process.
Yep.
It seems like the vote is coming up quite soon, and calling for public consultation at this point seems a little difficult. How do you feel about that?
Well, public consultation is something that happens now over the past. Historically, nobody comes to our public consultation meetings. So we were trying to figure out how, when to have it, how to have it, how long it should it be online, should it be in person, all kinds of things, because we weren't sure what we were going to end up with. And so we wanted to have this information session first before the public, the actual legal public budget meeting, which is scheduled right now for Monday. So, but that could run, I don't know how many people are going to come to that either. So it might run quite long too.
So people certainly do have an opportunity to provide their consultation still.
Yep, it'll be Monday evening. It will be an online meeting, a virtual meeting. Now, having things here at the hall is wonderful. The only thing is we don't have the kind of equipment that we need to run a technical, legal meeting of council. So that's why this was like an info session. That will be a real meeting of council, and then so that's the public budget meeting, and then right after is our regular meeting.
And yeah, we heard quite a few suggestions. What were the ones that you felt had kind of the most substance to them?
For suggestions, I would like to see them come in, honestly, at another time, like a much
Okay, we were talking about suggestions. We heard quite a few something about industry, reducing lot sizes. What did you feel that sounded hopeful?
So out of those types of suggestions, we have to follow an official plan that we put into the government. And we are doing that, and we're actually in the process in the next year to start our next one. And at that time, it will be a great time for these suggestions to come in when we're in the consultation phase of our official plan, because that's when we can start talking about things like changing lot sizes and having different bigger things that would affect the township, of what kind of businesses we can have here, that kind of thing. And right now, actually, our council is we want to keep the agricultural and small home business kind of look and feel of our township. So maybe there are people that don't want that. And that's fine, but they have to tell us. They have to let us know that.
Yeah. So kind of what I'm hearing is it would be beneficial to have a bit more public engagement in the actual civil process.
Right. So one of the things, unfortunately, about that is we've been talking about this for 3 years, that this kind of an increase would be coming. For the past few months, we've been talking about it specifically towards this year's budget, and nobody has been at the meetings. So it's not that we haven't been talking about it. We have been talking about it, but just nobody's heard it because they haven't been there. Now, we wouldn't send out, we wouldn't publicly send out big documents to people while we're trying to figure out grants and all these different things. We just wouldn't send that. No responsible municipal government would send that to every household. It's just not. We'd be there forever. Whereas, so it just So it was just a little bit. It kind of came up suddenly, I guess, because so many. I mean, because of the large increase, of course, but also because we're not used to people being around our meetings at all. So that's a good thing. That's a good way to start.
I think kind of what we're seeing here is a bit of the symptom of social media when something happens.
It is. I will say that for sure. That is the main instigator of everything was social media, from what I've heard, and it's been not very nice. So, but I guess people figure you're a politician, you can take it. I don't know.
It started off with a few complaints with people on my road about roads maintenance, and then the lack of it and the lack of communication and transparency. So a few of my neighbors sat in on council meetings virtually because that's all they have. But meanwhile, other municipalities have in public meetings. So we found out all of a sudden, June 27th, I believe it was the first talking of this budget. So I formed a group, we put it on Facebook, and it just went like wildfire because we were going to be hit with a 26.4 increase in our taxes, which is unacceptable. Now my question to council tonight was, why isn't there public consultation set up to get input from the residents of Gillies to go over this budget line by line to see what we could cut and how we could help this out? Like we want to pay our taxes, but there's no way we could afford 26+%. If you look at the budget, there's a lot of stuff that people don't understand, and a lot of stuff is put into one account, taken out, put into another account, and people don't understand that. And this needs to be discussed properly and shown to the residents. That's why we need public consultation, not to have this passed on July 24th, which they're calling it a public consultation virtual meeting, which everyone has to call in. And how do you regulate that when you have 200 residents calling in to try to ask about a budget? But my main concern is public consultation. They're going to pass the budget that night after hearing residents' concerns. There is no consultation. You heard all the comments tonight, and people are not very happy with this increase. And a lot of other people said the lack of consultations is irking them as well.
And with respect to the tax levy itself, how would that impact you as a homeowner?
Well, it would go up approximately $100 a month. So that's about $1,200 a year.
During an affordability crisis, right?
Everything is going up. And I understand taxes because we have to pay for services, but there needs to be some cutbacks. I hope they have a back off on the July 24th passing of the budget and have proper consultation.
And what would that look like to you?
It would be public meetings in person at the township office or here at the community center, and have breakout sessions and talk about the issues.
Do you feel that between now and then there's enough time to get that ready, or do you feel that it would be beneficial to delay the actual vote?
Well, it's already July, so this should have been talked about in February. So there's no problem in waiting another month or two to come up with a better solution.
Is there anything else you'd like to say that I haven't touched on?
I think I got my point across, and my fellow residents in the meeting and here tonight got their points across, and I hope council listens.
Work has been progressing at the Mattawa Training and Wellness Center on Algoma Street. The site of the former Dawson Court Home for the Aged will soon be a hub for Mattawa members, as it's just weeks away from a partial opening. The renovated facility will provide transitional housing, skill development, and more for those who need it most.
A lot has happened since we came into this temporary space, which was over 2 years ago, where our family transition units are ready to get open, which is really exciting. We're excited to have families move into the units. We have our community kitchen that's been operational, and programming space, which has been operational for a while. And our permanent office space is also should be completed by September of this year. So we'll be moving out of this space so that they can start construction for the health cooperative, which will be moving into the main floor area of the building. So really it'll be a holistic one-stop hub for Mattawa membership to come and receive the care the encouragement, KCATS through the education programs. So really, it's wraparound services.
It's 21 transitional housing units that cost $2.1 million, if I'm not mistaken.
The 21 units is part of a KCATS project. So we're part of the 6 family transitional units. So I'm not sure the cost amount on those.
All right, no worries. Now, yeah, so just talk about, I guess, Matawa members. So who does this, I guess, cater to a little more specific?
So Matawa is a tribal council that includes 9 communities within the north, and I don't want to list them because I'm going to miss one.
That's okay. That's okay. Not for list them, yeah. We're not live. So
Okay, that's good, please. But we have a lot of our population goes between Thunder Bay and their home community, or that reside in Thunder Bay or the district, and still require services that support their needs and their development, and really wrap around them in a holistic way to meet their needs across the board.
Now, why is it so important to have all of their services available to them in one place?
Well, we know that specifically for our program, as family support workers, as workers a program that works with families with children under the age of 18, we know that we're going to put every resource and every power in place to try and keep those families together, whole, and reduce the number of children in care. We know that disproportionately Indigenous children are represented in the child welfare system, so this is a chance to make a difference and break that cycle. So.
Wonderful. And and I guess what does it mean to those to the families to be able to receive that type of care that they need in this facility?
Well, for our families that are involved in our program already, it's made a world of difference. It has created opportunities for them to reunify with their children, connection to culture, connection to resources, parenting programs, community kitchens, all those things, a sense of community and belonging that is going to keep a family together. We know that statistics say that connection to culture builds resiliency. So having something that's culturally responsive, meeting the needs of kind of the medicine wheel, which is, physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health all together in one building. So being able to get that physical health through the health cooperative, that supportive growth of the family, parenting skills, anger management, life skills, all those things through our program. And then, when they're ready to take that next step, going into education programs to further their growth and their independence is just such an amazing opportunity.
Excellent. And so now I just want to ask one more time, just to be very, clear in terms of what is at what stage. So just confirming that the transitional housing units, those are complete, and you're going to take applications in imminently in August, September, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We have we're just in the hiring process for the staffing component of the 6 family transition units. Mm-hmm. So our community kitchen is done, our family resource center, and our office space down in the lower level should be complete as of September of this year. So we'll be moving down there, and then they'll be working on kind of more of this floor for the health cooperative, so they'll be able to move in, and KCATS classrooms and office space on the 3rd floor.
And just with the 21 transitional housing, not the family units, but now the student units, right? Those are complete as well?
You'd have to talk to different program.
Okay. That's okay. So now talk about the health cooperative. I understand it's ready, the work is ready to be done, except it needs funding, right?
Yes. So they're ready to move on that. They're spread out over the city, trying to offer services, both clinical and, in community resources that they're back and forth. So they're definitely looking forward to being under one roof as well.
And just how much funding would be needed to get the project going, and when do you expect? Would you have any idea that's okay? If you don't?
No, that's.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Carol would have to get you that
Carol,
information. Yeah. That's a health cooperative. So
that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to ask you, I guess, this will be the toughest question I'll ask, I promise. Okay. So let's say for those that are in the transitional housing, right? If they are deemed as able to live on their own and move out and find their own place to live, but they can't find a place to live, then what happens?
So they're in the units until there is a unit available. So usually, if they're actually within the units, we'll be working with the District Social Services Administrative Board, housing programs, things like that. So we're going to build that partnership and use those applications for rent geared to income housing. Portable housing benefits, perhaps, that might be able to go with the families. Look at different resources that can take the family, and whether there's units available within their affordability, we'll try and challenge those and make ways for them to afford market rent.
Right, and also you mentioned that they'll be paying rent that is based on their income status.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
All
that's
right,
correct.
Perfect. And what percentage was that again?
I'm not positive the percentage. So I know with the District Social Service Administrative Board sets rates that are part of their Ontario Works or ODSP, and part of that allocation is a shelter allowance. So that part would be allocated and paid towards the rent.
Perfect. I know we talked a lot about plenty of stuff going on here at Matawa, but anything else that we might have missed that we should know about?
No, this is really exciting. We're excited to offer services, and we're looking forward to having all our colleagues join us here at the building and being truly a hub and a wraparound service for our membership.
While the weather wasn't cooperating, the rain didn't stop some fantastic performances for the kickoff show of this year's Live on the Waterfront Festival.
Okay, first off, obviously not best weather to kick it off, but we've seen how huge these can get, and it seems like more people are rolling in. How cool is it for the city, and you think for the public to have this event back?
For sure. Well, it's always great to have an evening where people can come together as a community, celebrate culture, diversity, and just, be together. So, yeah, weather, not the best today, but still hopeful that more people are going to come out tonight.
And some pretty cool local artists, but also some Juno nominees throughout this summer. How do you kind of, what's the process of, securing some great artists, whether it be local or from outside of town?
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that we have some amazing talent in our city. So we do our calls to talent, and we elicit a lot of talent from there. And then just, looking at the charts, seeing what people are doing around looking at the nominees, looking at the Prism Award list and stuff like that, and going from there.
Perfect. And maybe take me through, we know it's every Wednesday, but it's also ending with a back-to-back night concert. I don't know if that's something that happened last year, but how cool is that? And it's probably a little more work on your end, but it's probably a big payoff.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So yeah, we're trying something different this year. So we're doing our summer send-off with 2 nights back-to-back, August 30th, August 31st. So it's going to be a great night, and it'll be nice to have, it'll be something new. We haven't tried it, so I'm excited to see how it works out.
Maybe highlight a few of the local artists that you secured for the next few Wednesdays coming up, not specifically in the next few, but throughout the summer, because there's some cool names on there that jump off the page for a lot of people in Thunder Bay.
For sure. I mean, we've got, tonight we have got Kathleen Nemec, we've got Lukewarm and the Cold Ones, and then we have Lock Your Boys, Honest Heart Collective, Chris Tallarico. The list is it's endless. So.
And I guess that kind of covers most of the stuff I was looking for. It's really cool. Yeah, maybe just wrap it up based on last year. I came out, it was crowded quite a bit. What are you expecting this year in terms of turnout?
I think if, weather permitting, we get some great weather, I think we'll see bigger numbers this year. I'm pretty hopeful for that.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Word for Word. We'll be back next week with more interviews from across the Northwest.